Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. So, what do you get when you cross a bee and a sheep? A bah humbug. Today, we're taking a look at Grand Prix from GMT Games. Grand Prix from GMT Games is a game designed from Jeff and Carla Horger. Now, this is for 2 to 11 players. And what you're basically going to be doing is you're going to be running a team of your Grand Prix cars around various different tracks. Okay. There are several different types of movement. You have solo movement, you have lead movement. You're going to be pushing cars with you. You're going to be not pulling cars, but you're going to be displacing cars, okay, getting them out of the way so you can kind of move the pack around. You're going to have conditional linkage for whether you're moving lines, not moving lines. Lots of stuff going on in this particular game. So let me give you a really brief overview of how it plays, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, folks, so to play the game, the first thing you have to do is set up. Now, I'm not really going to cover all of the setup and all of how to play. This game's been out for quite a while. There's a lot of stuff on this. I just kind of want to give you a brief overview of how the game is played, all right? But the main thing with this game to remember is once you set it up, you set your board out, there are going to be 22 cars that are going to be on this track when you play. Based on the number of players, and everybody selects their team, you're going to have your team cars, but then you're going to be able to pick from an NPC team, which that team will be part of yours and only you can move them. And then the rest of the cars are going to be generic NPC cars, which means either you or your opponents can move those particular cars. Okay. Just remember that you can only move your cars, your NPC cars. Your opponents cannot move your cars or your NPC cars, but anybody can move the generic ones. Okay. That's it. And then based on the number of players, you're also going to have a hand size. All right. So figure out your pole position, figure out who's playing what, get everything set up, and then you're going to be ready to go. Okay. So how does the game actually play? Now, there's a sequence of play, right, for every one of the turns, starting with the player one. God, I can't talk. Starting with player one, basically what you can do is you are going to play a card from your hand. Now, you have to play a card from your hand every turn, and you have to activate a car or do something with one of your cars or even one of the NPC cars. Now, when you play a card from your hand, that card is going to be one of 4 different types. It's going to be a solo movement, a line movement, a pursuit movement, or a lead movement. Okay. And what you're going to do is you just have to follow the restrictions for each one of those movement types. And the card's also going to tell you how many spaces you can move. Now, there's wear and damage that you can have on your cars as well. Okay. If you have more than, I think it's 3 wear tokens on it, then of course your speed is going to be reduced. There's a chart that tells you what it's going to be reduced to. Just kind of follow that. Otherwise, you're moving your car with the rest of the cars that it may be linked to, X number of spaces. Now, solo movement, basically what that does is that only uses conditional linking, so you can actually delink from other cars, but you're moving X number of spaces. And if you hit or get behind a bunch of cars, you're going to push all those cars forward, but you can delink and then you continue forward. So you don't have to necessarily stay in that line. Okay. You have lead movement. Lead movement is also the other one that uses conditional linking, so you can actually break that link and join other links. But lead movement, what it does is it's going to drag all the cars behind you. So anytime, if you were to say do your movement after you started moving, or do your lane change after you started moving, then you can grab a different line and you're going to be able to move that one. Okay, but all cars behind you will always move. Now you have line movement. Line movement is all the cars in front of you and behind you are going to move. Now, before you do any movement whatsoever, all right, you can change lanes. Okay, you can go up or down. It costs you 1 movement point to go up or down unless you're going to displace another car, in which it costs 2. If you displace another car, then he slides forward and you slide him behind him. Okay. But now at that point, every car in front and back of you is going to move and you can't change that link. You are stuck in that link for the duration of your movement. All right. Just remember, you're going to move all of them. The last one is your pursuit movement. Pursuit movement is you can change your which lane you're in before you move forward, okay? But once you are done with that, now you are linked with those cars, and now you're just moving all the cars in front of you forward. All the cars behind you are going to stay behind. Those are your 4 different types of movements. You're going to do one of those, okay? Remember, when you play that card, you're either going to play it on one of your own cars, one of your team cards, one of your team or NPC cards, or one of the generic NPC cards, and that's it. When you're done moving the car, flip it over to the other side, all right? And then it's the next player's turn. And you're going to keep going around the table until all 22 cars have been activated. All right, now, the other thing you can do on your turn is you can also pass. Now, if you pass, and I'm going to just make sure I'm doing this correctly. You can pass a turn by selecting a player card that is currently out of the race, and you're just going to flip that one over. Okay. You can eliminate. You can actually take one of your cars if it has 6 or more wear markers on it. All right. If it is yet to be activated, you can actually just eliminate it, put it over on its dashboard, and you can voluntarily retire one of your cars as well. One of your non-activated player cars, okay, by just basically removing that car from the track, turn it over to show that it's been activated. Okay, that's it. Now, once all the cars have been done, okay, now you're going to draw an event card. Now, the event card is going to do something. It's going to tell you something's going to happen, okay? And a lot of times it's usually going to affect the NPCs. It's going to tell you which one of the NPC cars have to pit, okay? If they have to pit, then of course they're going to be going into the pit lane, and they're going to be moving back. I think it's 5 spaces. They may move back even more. Once those cars have done pitted or are in the pit, and you've dealt with whatever the event says, okay, then starting with player 1, you can actually, who is, anybody, you can pit your own cars. You can pit your cars by removing wear. If you remove wear, then of course you're going to be moving backwards based on the number of points your wear tokens have. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just, of course you're pitting. But yeah, you want to try to get rid of your wear tokens is what you're basically trying to do. Because remember, if you ever have more than, I believe it's 3 wear tokens, then you're going to start reducing your speed. All right. So by pitting, all right, if you do that and get rid of those wear tokens, now, when you pit, you're going to be using the lower number of the 2 when you play your card. It's going to cost you a point to come out, but then you get out, but then you have less wear. Okay, it's very important to keep that wear down. All right, but after everybody forms all the pits, you determine the new first player. You're going to remove any lap cars. Okay, so if the lead car ever passes any cars, you're going to put a little lap token on it. So at this point, if there's any of those little lap cars tokens on any of those cars just get removed from the board. Okay, everybody still maintains their same hand of cards. You're going to discard any unwanted race cards that you don't want, and then you draw back up to your hand. Now, the less cars that are on the board, okay, is basically means that you're still going to have a full hand of cards, but you're not necessarily going to play as many cards. So you're going to have a little more choices. So sometimes that's why you want to do those eliminations or anything else. But you're going to keep going around and around until X number of laps. First person to cross the finish line wins Grand Prix. Okay, folks, that was a really high level how to play this game, and pretty sporadic on top of that as well. Because really, there's a lot going on in this game, and there's a lot of decisions and a lot of choices that you have to make. All right. Now, basically with this game, I want to just talk about what I do like about it, and we'll see if I can come up with something that I really don't like about it. Okay. Now, in this game, of course, everyone's going to have their team. All right, you're going to have your team that's going to be your regular cars. It's going to be 2 cars, and then you're going to have your NPC team as well, which may be 2, 3, or even 4 cars. But then you're going to have all the other ones. Okay, all the generic NPC guys are going to be out there as well. All right. I like the fact that there is always 22 cars in a race. I absolutely love that. Okay, because you're always playing with a full field of cars, and at the very beginning, there's a lot of movement that has to happen around this. Okay. Because every one of those cars have to be activated. And every one of those cars is probably going to be moving at least 1 or more cars to try to get them around the track. So you really never know what's going to happen or how far other cars are going to go. All right. And that's actually one of the things that's really cool. Now, the way the cards are played out, okay, you have your 4 different types of cards, okay, and how each one of those cards functions is really cool. And it's really important to how you're going to move your cars around the track. All right. So, one of the important things about this game is not necessarily moving your 2 main team cars, because you kind of want to move the NPC cars first, because especially the generic ones, or you want to think about it on those generic ones, because anybody can move those. All right. And if you just concentrate on moving all your team stuff and your opponent concentrates on removing some of those generic NPC ones, well, then you're going to get down to the point where you don't have any more cars to activate, but your opponent's going to have cars that he can still activate. Okay, so it's one of those things where it's kind of a race to activate all those NPC cars, get moving, get them jockeying for position, and maybe using those cars to help set your cars up the way you want them. Okay, and it's really cool the way they do that. I actually like that. I like how, with the solo and the lead, it's a conditional linkage. So as you're moving, you can actually drop out of that linkage. Okay. And then you can keep on moving, which is really nice. But when you're doing, like, say, a lead and you're linked up, if you change lanes, I mean, the cars are following you. All right. And I love that. I love how the linking works in this game. I love how every time you move your car, it's not just your car. You're moving a series of other cars, and a lot of them may be your opponent's cars as well. So you got to be very careful that you're not like setting your opponent up to like slingshot way ahead of you, and then you got to try to play catch up. So there's that jockeying for position that you really got to figure out. I really like that. That's really cool. Now, one of the things I didn't talk about is anytime you play a card, up in the upper right hand corner is going to be an icon of something. It's damage that's going to happen to your car, whether it be tires, whether it be like moderate wear for like your body or like your brakes. Okay, maybe it's engine, transmission, or something. Okay, you're going to be putting one of those tokens down on your player mat. Now, you have speed penalties if you have 3 or more of those wear tokens on your board. All right, then your speed is getting reduced. So if you have 3, your speed is reduced by 3. If you have 4, it's reduced by 4. So it's easy to remember. Okay, so you always want to try to keep those wear tokens down. So that's where pitting is important. Now, pitting is actually really cool because I like how the pitting works. Because when you choose to pit, okay, you're gonna go to the inside line, okay, and what you're gonna do is you can choose how many of those tokens you want to get rid of. But the thing is when you get rid of those tokens, you're going to look at the number that's on them, and that's how many spaces you have to go backwards on the track because cars they're passing you while you're pitting. They're not pitted, okay? And that's actually really cool. So you pit, then you come back out. Well, now you're back and now you're behind a little bit, and you got to try to play catch up. Now, the way all the NPC cars pit is whenever you play an event card, there's a little pit number down on the bottom, okay? And all the cars that end in that number, they have to pit. It's automatic. It's mandatory. They're going to be pitting. So the NPC cars are going to be pitting randomly. You're not sure exactly when they're going to be pitting, but it will be happening, okay? Yours is very selective on your team cars when you want to pit those. And I do like that. Now, there's the catastrophic wear, which is the red one, okay? That can never be gotten rid of. So if you start getting those markers on your board, be really, really careful. And there's also the close call tokens that you get as well. Okay. The close call tokens are the green ones, and those are pretty much stuck for the most part on your car as well. So if you get like say 3 of those, well, you're going to have a penalty on your movement anyways because of that. So you definitely need to make sure you keep the other wear down. Okay. Now, the other thing, and I didn't really talk about this as well during the rules, is when you draw the event cards, you're also looking for the flag icons. Now, the flag icons, I mean, you got yellow flags, you got double yellow flags, you got green flags, you got black flags. I mean, there's several different flags, and those are going to cause different things to happen. Maybe they're going to cause, an area where basically you got a caution area, so everyone can only take a single file lane, and so you can't do really any passing in there or something like that. So there's various things are going to happen for that. There is so much going on, and that is what I absolutely love about this game. There is just a ton going on in this game. Okay, now the movement cost, as I said before, it's always 1 movement for every space you're going to move. If you want to move laterally, it costs you 1. If there's another car there, okay, well, then you're going to displace them. It costs you 2 movement. You're going to move them out of the way, okay? But then that's going to change your line just a little bit. And, hopefully it's going to be one of your cars that you're trying to displace forward. Get them up there a little bit, drag them along, and there you go, okay? But you know what? But that's Grand Prix. I'll tell you what, I absolutely love this game. Now, the one thing about this game that I can say that I don't like is there's no solo mode. I love solo mode racing in games. Now, this is designed for 2 players and up, and honestly, I've played this solo. I've just played 2 different teams, and I've just kind of moved them around the board. It allows me to get the feel of playing the game, but I don't get that true solo. It's not just necessarily my team I'm playing. I'm actually playing 2 different teams. I really wish there was a dedicated solo mode that was inside the box of this. But otherwise, I think this is a fantastic game. The game comes with, I believe, 4 different tracks in the box. I think if I remember right, they're double-sided map boards. Each track plays totally different. I do love how on the different tracks, I mean, you might go from 2 or 3 lanes down into a single lane corner or something like that. And the nice thing is when you're moving along, you can determine how things are going to go into those corners. So, but once you're linked and you move one car into a corner, you have to stay with that link around that corner. You can't de-link unless you're doing a movement that's going to give you a conditional linkage. But the way the tracks are set up and the way the different corners are set up and everything else, it's really good and it's really tight and it's really tense how this game is played. Your NPC cards having a mandatory pit when you didn't want them to. It's like, I just set these NPC cars up to help my regular team cars. And now all of a sudden they have to pit. They're going to be stuck behind. How am I going to fix that? How am I going to change that up? It just kind of shows you the hazards of Grand Prix racing and how it affects things and how the track is constantly changing at any given time. And it is so cool. I absolutely love this game. It's one of my favorite racing games. I'll play this one anytime that I can get even just 2 people, or even if I can get 5 or 6 people to the table so we can play this. I love playing with a lot of people. I love playing this with 2 players. I think it plays great at every player count just because all the cars are out there. But there you go. I mean, that's Grand Prix. If you like Grand Prix racing games and you have not tried this one from GMT Games, I highly recommend this game. This game is fantastic. And if you have, what is it? I believe it's Thunder Alley. Okay. You can use the tracks from Thunder Alley in this game. And of course, you can even use these tracks in Thunder Alley. And I know there's some expansion tracks out for this one as well that I have. I just haven't had a chance to play them yet. But oh, so good. Highly recommend Grand Prix from GMT Games. Thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on that subscription button and even click on the bell to be notified when I drop new videos. And if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some unboxings, playthroughs, and reviews. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. So did you hear about the new restaurant that they're going to open up on the moon? Food is fantastic, but there's just no atmosphere.